What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My apologies for the abrupt ending of the episode. I had to stop things quickly, so here I am. I'm returning to where I left off. I know that first video was a lot to take in, a lot to digest. But hey, when it comes to things like this, the context is important. So again, my apologies for abruptly ending things, but I'm just gonna jump right back into it. Um, Starting with August 3rd, 2019. Um, A gunman opened fire at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas, killing 22 people and injuring 24 others. The FBI labeled the massacre an act of domestic terrorism, and police determined that the alleged shooter, 21-year-old Patrick Cruces, posted a lengthy anti-immigrant diatribe online before the attack. We attribute that manifesto directly to him, according to El Paso Police Chief Greg Allen, describing the coming assault as, quote, a response to the Hispanic invasion of Texas. The Screeds writer said the media would blame Trump's rhetoric for the attack, but insisted his anti-immigrant views predate Trump, an apparent acknowledgement that at least some of his views align with some of Trump's public statements. The writer began his online essay by stating that he generally supports the previous writings of the man who killed 51 Muslim worshippers in New Zealand earlier this year. In that case, the shooter in New Zealand said he absolutely did not support Trump as a policymaker and leader, but as a symbol of renewed white identity and common purpose. Sure, Cruces has been charged with capital murder by the state of Texas. And I believe that guy either got life in prison or the death penalty. Um, I'm not sure. I will go back and look at it now, but I want to focus on this. I want to focus on this article as I continue on with the video. But yeah, that El Paso shooting, yeah, that was crazy. Then again, the majority of these shootings, whether it's related to political activity or not, all of them were crazy. And in this case, I mean that was crazy. At a Walmart. Continuing on, August 16th, 2019, the FBI arrested Eric Lynn, 35, of Clarksburg, Maryland, for sending threatening, and hate-filled messages over Facebook, vowing to kill a Miami area woman and all Hispanics in Miami and other places, as the Justice Department described it. Over 2 months, the woman received 150 pages worth of messages from Lynn, the FBI said. In June 2019, Lynn allegedly wrote, "In 3 short years, your entire race, your entire culture will perish. Only then, after I kill your epithet family, will I permit you to die by hanging on metal wire." Okay. A month later, on July 19, 2019, he allegedly wrote, "I thank God every day President Donald John Trump is president, and that he will launch a racial war and crusade to keep N's, S's, and Muslims and any dangerous non-white and ethnically and culturally foreign group in line." And you can only imagine what the N word and the S word stand for. I won't repeat them here. On his Facebook account, Lynn said he studied at Trump University. Okay, I'm gonna come back to that. He studied at Trump University and he repeatedly praises Trump for, among other things, fomenting racial hatred and making racism okay again. The nerve. At the same time, a few of his posts seem to praise Democrats and minorities. That's hella interesting too. In January, Lynn pleaded guilty to one count of transmitting a threatening communication. He has yet to be sentenced. Okay, so this particular one is just dripping with racism, and then the nerve to come and say, "Study at Trump University." Okay, number one, that's nothing to be celebrated. And number two, that had to have been a 100% lie because there were no such university. And as I'm going to get to when I get into my next part, he had to settle out of court for that. I believe it was $25 million, and it was bogus, basically another cash grab. And trust me, you know, when it comes to cash grabs and things of that nature, you won't find Trump too far behind. But I mean, just the boldness of it, making racism okay again and fomenting racial hatred. And then how you going to at the same time have some posts praising Democrats and minorities? Are you serious? Anyway, bless their hearts. August 21st, 2019, Nathan Samaz of Humphreys County, Tennessee, was arrested by state law enforcement for allegedly emailing a threat to a local TV station that demanded the station broadcast a certain story. Look, if you don't run story, I'm going to state capitol to blow someone's brains out, the email stated. The email then added in part, I don't look good at the moment because the tyranny of what Trump did. I'm sick of this nonsense and baloney hanging around that Trump's the perfect American. Hallelujah against Trump. Samaz has been charged with one count of making terrorist threats, and his trial is pending. It's unclear if he has entered an initial plea. October 7th, 2019, a woman driving in Moorhead, Minnesota, called police after 27-year-old Joseph Schumacher of North Dakota allegedly rolled down his window and began yelling at the female, expressing his dislike for the political bumper sticker she had displayed on her car, according to police reports. Schumacher then allegedly pointed to the Trump Pence bumper sticker on his own vehicle and further expressed his difference in national political views before brandishing a pistol inside his vehicle, police said. Schumacher was ultimately arrested on 3 misdemeanor charges, including disorderly conduct that could reasonably arouse alarm. He ultimately pleaded guilty to the disorderly conduct charge and a gross misdemeanor charge of carrying a weapon without a permit. He was sentenced to a year behind bars. And see, again, I see political bumper stickers all the time. Hell, I got political bumper stickers on my car. I have a Biden Harris bumper sticker on my car. I also have one that says "Vote like your rights depending on it." I have both of those on my car. But again, I've seen Trump bumper stickers all around. But at the same time, I just go in about my business because at the end of the day, it's not helpful to you know attack somebody or try to take things into your own hands because you see a bumper sticker you don't like. I mean, no matter what side does it, it's not right because at the end of the day, it's stupid. And then again, that is freedom of speech in a sense. You can't force someone to you know do whatever you want in terms of a bumper sticker on your car. Like I said, I've seen it, but I see it. I make my little comments to myself, and I move on. It's not that serious, man. Not that serious. Continuing on, October 25th, 2019, the FBI arrested Jan Peter Miser of Tucson, Arizona, back to Arizona, for threatening to kill House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff, Democrat, California. 3 weeks later, he left a voicemail at Schiff's office in Washington, D.C., promising to blow your brains out. According to court documents filed in the case, Meister told FBI agents that he strongly dislikes the Democrats and feels they are to blame for the country's political issues. In other court documents, Meister's attorney, Bradley Roach, noted that the charge his client ultimately accepted involves threats of injury or death against a political figure who figures very prominently in the ongoing impeachment of Donald Trump. Meister has pleaded guilty to one count of threatening a U.S. official. A plea agreement with prosecutors calls for Meister to be sentenced to time already served. August 26, 2019, during the Collier County Fair in Florida, a teenage girl allegedly assaulted a man dressed as Trump. While standing in line with my wife and stepdaughter waiting our turn to go into the haunted house exhibit, she walked over to me and punched me in my left jaw. She laughed and ran back to her place in line, the man told police, according to a police report of the incident. The unidentified girl's sole motivation was to strike Trump, and a video of the incident was posted on social media. The report added, the girl was issued a civil citation in order to appear in court, according to the Collier County Sheriff's Office. Okay, that was just stupid for her to do that, but okay. And again, don't put your hands on people. I mean, self-defense is one thing, but just don't go up to somebody and punch them because of what they're wearing. Okay, again, I haven't seen a lot of them, but I've seen, instances where people were wearing, a Trump shirt or something like that. I acknowledge it and move on. Punching them is not going to solve anything. I mean, I just wish people would make sound decisions. Stop taking things into your own hands. And again, stop putting your hands on people. Don't put your hands on somebody. Come on. Oh, brother. November 1st, 2019, Clifton Blackwell, 61 of Milwaukee, was arrested by local police after allegedly throwing acid on a Peruvian American's face and accusing him of being inside the United States illegally. Before attacking the victim outside of a Mexican restaurant, Blackwell allegedly asked the victim, "Why you invade my country and why don't you respect my laws?" The attack was captured on video by surveillance cameras, and the victim suffered second-degree burns on his face and neck. When police then searched Blackwell's home, they found gun parts and three letters addressed to President Donald Trump, a police report noted. And when police interviewed an employee at a grocery store frequented by Blackwell, the employee told police that Blackwell many times talked about his political support for President Trump. According to a police report, she stated she was even warned by the security guard James to not talk about political issues when Blackwell is in the store because of how he acts. Blackwell was charged with first-degree reckless injury doing a hate crime. He pleaded not guilty and is awaiting trial. November 6, 2019, Lawrence K. Garcia of the Albuquerque, New Mexico area was arrested by the FBI for allegedly threatening to kill local law enforcement and bomb a U.S. bank's offices. In a phone call to the bank, Garcia said, "If Donald J. Trump doesn't step down by my birthday the day after, we shall declare war against the devil." So, Donald J. Trump, you are going to bow to the American people according to charge and documents filed in the case. A federal grand jury indicted Garcia on one count of committing a threat over state lines, but he has a history of mental illness, go figure, and a federal judge later determined he is not presently competent to stand trial. Garcia was placed into federal custody to receive treatment. February 11th, 2020, Patrick Bradley, 34, of Windham, New Hampshire, was arrested by local police for allegedly assaulting a pro-Trump teenager on the day of New Hampshire's primary election for presidential nominees. According to police, Bradley had exited the voting polls located inside Windham High School and was walking by a Trump campaign tent occupied by several campaign supporters/workers. As he passed by the tent, Bradley slapped the 15-year-old juvenile across the face. He then assaulted two other adults who attempted to intercede. Bradley was also accused of throwing Trump campaign signs and attempting to knock over the aforementioned tent. Bradley was charged with 3 misdemeanor counts of simple assault and 1 count of disorderly conduct. He has pleaded not guilty and is awaiting trial. February 19th, 2020, the FBI arrested Salvatore Lipa II, 57, of upstate New York, for allegedly threatening to kill Senator Charles Schumer, Democrat, New York, the top Democrat in the Senate, and Representative Adam Schiff, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. In late January, he left a voicemail at Schiff's office in Washington, D.C., calling Schiff a scumbag and threatening to put a bullet in your expletive forehead, according to charging documents. 2 weeks later, he allegedly left a voicemail at Schumer's office in Albany, New York, saying, "Somebody wants to assassinate you." When federal authorities confronted Lipa, he admitted that he had made the threatening calls because he was upset about the impeachment proceedings targeting Trump. Lipa has been charged with threatening to kill a U.S. official and is currently engaged in plea negotiations with the government, according to court records. These are some highly emotional people. I tell you, okay, you're upset about the impeachment proceedings. Okay, this may be easy for me to say, but get over it. You being upset is not going to change a damn thing. And you killing somebody or even threatening to kill somebody is not going to help your cause. Jesus Christ. And lastly, April 30th, 2020, a Pennsylvania man who fled Cuba nearly 2 decades ago, Alonzo Alexander, allegedly opened fire on the Cuban embassy in Washington, D.C. When police officers first arrested Alexander, he was holding an American flag and yelling nonsensical statements like most of them do, according to charging documents filed in the case. He had also unsuccessfully tried to burn a Cuban flag that had several phrases written on it, including Trump 2020. After his arrest, Alexander told authorities he had heard voices in his head and believed certain Cubans were trying to kill him, so he wanted to get them before they got him, the charging document said. His wife later told authorities that Garcia was previously diagnosed with a delusional disorder. Now, see, people like this do not need to have access to guns or any type of weapons that can harm people. But I digress. Garcia has been charged with 3 firearms-related offenses, including 1 count of using a deadly weapon to attack a foreign official. It's unclear if he's entered an initial plea. And that brings us to the end of this article, and I'm going to go all the way up top and highlight something. Okay, now I know that was a lot to unpack, ladies and gentlemen, but like I said at the beginning, um, when it comes to things like this, the content is key. You definitely want to have content, and you definitely want to have the context. That's what I meant to say. The context is key here, and all of it is essential. Now, to be fair, all of these 54 accounts wasn't specifically focused just on the Trump supporters, but I guess you could say 80 to 85% of them were. And it just shows their mindset when it came to this guy. And look at this part right here. This part that I said I was going to come back to. ABC News could not find a single criminal case filed in federal or state court where an act of violence or threat was made in the name of President Barack Obama or President George W. Bush. Now it's possible that such things may have happened, but we didn't see it. It definitely wasn't public. I don't recall an instance where somebody was out there, saying, yeah, we got to get Bush back in to protect us from another 9/11. Now, granted, there may have been some sentiment like that, but there were no swaths of people out there trying to, you know, do worse things in his name and commit violent acts as a result. And then Obama, one main point that I wanted to make here is that could you imagine if it was a series of black people and out there, black power, when Obama get in, this gonna happen. When Obama will get in, that gonna happen. Can you imagine if such a thing happened? But yet and still it didn't. There were Obama supporters, and yes, I'm one of them. Okay, but there was never, like this article said, there was never a single criminal case filed in federal or state court where act of violence or threat was made in the name of Obama or Bush. And think about that. And that's the case with Biden too. And I guarantee you that's probably the case with Bill Clinton. That's probably the case with Bush 41. And hell, we can even go back to Reagan, Carter, all of that. All of this mess started with Trump. And like I said, his supporters, his worshipers, they showed their natural asses from the moment he came down that escalator in 2015 all the way up to January 6, 2021. And we all saw it in real time. And not only that, in addition to these 54 cases, remember during that time period when we were seeing people again just showing their natural asses, people being accosted in stores, um, going to their apartments, selling lemonade, selling water, going to the park, just every single thing we seen. Even if most of those wasn't in the name of Trump, that was the Trump effect. Everything stemmed from him. All of that stuff that we saw from 2015 all the way up to 2021 and January 6th, he was the linchpin of that. Even if he didn't outright cause it, like I said, he threw a lit match into a can of gasoline and it just boiled over from there. Now, much to my surprise, we're not seeing too much of it today, even going into another election year. But I guarantee you, it's still small packets out there that that's perpetrating this. And there's no surprise that he then and probably now is not going to hold himself accountable for for the divisions in America. I mean, we was already on that trajectory dating back to the Clinton years. Then came the Bush years, and of course, when Obama came in, it boiled over from there. So it's no surprise. So basically, I say all this to say that it's all right to support someone. There's a difference between supporting someone and caping for someone, and those MAGA supporters or worshipers, I never seen such caping in my life. And then the Black Republicans, bless y'all heart, y'all do some equal caping too. you know and sometimes the caping from them is even is I don't want to say worse than what others do, but it's up there. I tell you that. So so at this point, do I think we're going to see more instances of um what I just read to you? I mean, I don't know, because quite frankly, we would be seeing it now. Is it possible that it may start back up as November 2024 draws closer? I mean, I guess it's possible, but I hope we don't see it again, because the last thing that we need right now is, um, people doing crazy things and all of that in the name of Trump. We've seen enough of it. We don't need to see no more. And besides, that man has a lot more things to worry about than what his supporters are doing. You know, so that brings me to the end of this particular video. Like I said, it's okay to support someone, but when you have to resort to violence and threats and everything related, then that's taking it a bit too far. You can support someone without having to resort to violence and everything that comes with it, because you're not helping yourself. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping the cause. You're making yourself look bad. You're making the country look stupid. You're making the political parties just look even worse in retrospect. Take a chill pill. So, with all that being said, we come to the end of this particular video. I know it was a lot to unpack. The first video was longer, and like I said, I had to cut the stream abruptly, and then I had to finish up. So, I hope you all enjoyed this. And again, if you agree with what I said, even with the context, let me know in the comments. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. Please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and stay tuned for part two. And part two is going to be real in depth, because that's when I cover his 4 years in office. So stay tuned for that one. That one is going to be pretty good. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and remember, the power of the mind is valuable.